The more than 1 decade of Boko Haram insurgency has caused the displacement of over 1 million people in the northeast. Significant numbers have received abode in internally displaced persons camps, host communities, and some refugees in neighboring countries. Efforts by government at all levels and development partners to end the insurgency is basically to mitigate the humanitarian crisis and return the displaced to their communities to pick up their lives. This has formed significant part of activities of the federal agencies and Borno State government, where the majority of the displaced are waiting on authority to ease their anguish by returning home. How much effort has been made by stakeholders? How feasible is the resettlement? This is our focus today on Panorama. I am Abubakar Muhammad Musa. President Muhammadu Buhari has assented to the Companies and Allied Matters Bill 2020, recently passed by the National Assembly. The President's action on this important legislation therefore repeated and replaced the extant Companies and Allied Matters Act 1990, introducing after 30 years several corporate legal innovations geared towards enhancing ease of doing business in the country. Elizabeth Omorui has details of the innovations.
The innovations are filing fee reductions and other reforms to make it easier and cheaper for small and medium-sized enterprises to register and reform their businesses in Nigeria, allowing corporate promoters of companies to establish private companies with a single member or shareholder, and creating limited liability partnerships and limited partnerships to give investors and business people alternative forms of carrying out their businesses in an efficient and flexible way. It also includes innovating processes and procedures to ease the operations of companies, such as introduction of statements of compliance, replacing authorized share capital with minimum share capital to reduce costs of incorporating companies, and providing for electronic filing, electronic share transfers, e-meetings, as well as remote general meetings for private companies in response to the disruptions of close contact physical meetings due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It also requires the disclosure of persons with significant control of companies in a register of beneficial owners to enhance corporate accountability and transparency. Similarly, enhancing the minority shareholder protection and engagement, introducing enhanced business rescue reforms for insolvent companies, and permitting the merger of incorporated trustees for associations that share similar aims and objectives are also part of it. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Muhammadu Buhari has endorsed the candidacy of Pastor Osagi Ize Iyamu of the APC for election as governor of Edo State. Receiving the candidate of the governing party, the president urged the people of the state to massively vote for him towards restoring the heartbeat of the nation on the path of sustainable future. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The APC candidate for the forthcoming Edo State governorship election, Pastor Osage Ize Iyamu, was meeting President Muhammadu Buhari for the very first time. He was formally introduced to the Nigerian leader by, amongst others, the chairman, APC caretaker and extraordinary convention planning committee, chairman, Progressives Governors Forum, and chairman, APC Governorship Campaign Council for Edo State. Discussions at the interactive engagement that followed behind closed doors centered on ways and means of ensuring that the APC candidate achieves triumphant victory at the polls. Most importantly, the APC leaders want the conduct of the election to be very peaceful and orderly towards achieving a credible outcome.
As we are all aware, Pastor Ize Iyamu is not a greenhorn in Edo politics. He's a grassroots politician, loved by his people, and he went through the transparent process that produced him, and Mr. President has endorsed him, the party has endorsed him. So Mr. President is impressed with his performance so far.
For the Progressive Governors Forum, the defining thing is continuity of the All Progressive Congress in governance at the federal and across Nigeria. And we will support our party any day. The president is very, very clear about his expectation of us to deliver our party in any election, and that is what we will do.
We are contesting against a serving governor in Edo State who failed woefully. It could have been a big problem if the governor performed well while governing his state. He could have been an asset to PDP, but I assure you that governor is a liability. So we are ready to fight somebody who has failed.
Let me also use this opportunity to debunk the story that has been going around in the past 1 week from the opposition that Mr. President did not want to see me. There's no truth in it. The reception I got very warm, very fatherly. The cooperation I've received is unprecedented. I'm happy to belong to the progressive family. And I want to assure you that we'll win overwhelmingly. So please, help me thank the president for this love.
Edo State governorship election comes up on the 19th of September 2020. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, recently experienced massive flooding, resulting in the loss of lives and destruction to property, despite proactive efforts by authorities to contain the perennial environmental concern. Pauline Kujivana takes a look at the impact of the flood and measures to control the challenge in the urban center.
Flood is a reoccurrent decimal in Maiduguri metropolis and environs, damaging properties and endangering lives of humans and animals, with attendant consequences such as outbreak of diseases like cholera and malaria. What then is the impact of the flood and measures taken by government to control the devastating environmental menace? With me is the Commissioner of Environment, who is also the Chairman, Flood Control Committee, Borno State, Madu Walama, who will provide answers to these questions.
His Excellency Professor Babagana Umaru Zulum constituted a very high-powered committee on flooding, headed by my humble self, to look into the problem of most of the drainages and then provide solutions. And some of the solutions we are now handling it by desilting it and evacuating it. In some areas, we are building new drainages. And why it is not possible, we ask the community to exercise patience and wait until after rainy season.
So, sir, how will you assess the attitude of people towards flood protection and control measures in their communities?
Well, the attitude of our people is unfortunate. Unfortunate in the sense that the government is spending a lot of money by constructing a lot of drainages. And yet, you see people putting all useless things into these drainages, not knowing that the government has a lot to do. It takes care of the IDPs. Which one then? Does he look for flooding alone? So he has to take care of so many things. People tend to buy houses without even knowing the genuineness of why they are building on it. You see them building houses on waterways, and such kind of things will not be tolerated anymore. We are also urging the State House of Assembly to enact a law that will be stringent to the community.
Although flooding is a natural occurrence and perennial often with devastating effects, but man-made changes to the landscape can worsen the effect, hence the need for collective effort to control it. It's back to you in the studio.
Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umara Zulum has inaugurated 200 million naira water facilities at Goidamgari and Shauri North communities in Maiduguri, drilled and donated by Jack Rich Foundation. Mohammed Goni reports that the water project intervention by the River State-born philanthropist based in America, Jack Rich 10, was facilitated by an elder statesman, Ambassador Babagana Kingibe.
Two very important middle-purpose boreholes that were constructed by founder and president of the Panorama Oil Limited, engineer team Jack Rich, to the benefit of the humanity.
The water project at Goidamgari and Shohuri North are some of the philanthropic gesture by Jack Rich Foundation across the country, geared towards improving the lives of the citizenry. Residents of Goidamgari, including IDPs mainly from northern Borno, have expressed joy over the multi-million naira water project, which they say will put to rest the challenges of water shortage in the area.
This couldn't have been possible without the voluntary effort of the military and the other security forces. As we are seated here now, in the last 6 or 7 years, there is no way somebody will be here.
Professor Babagana Umara, who appreciated the donor, Jack Rich Chain, for touching lives of citizens in the state, as well as Ambassador Babagana Kingibe for facilitating the intervention, also pledged to construct a new road from Baga Road to Goidamgari community and reassured of his determination to continue to provide basic infrastructural facilities to the people across the 27 local government areas of the state. President Jack Rich Foundation, Engineer Jack Rich, said he has passion and determination as a businessman to serve the poor and empower the youth to become good leaders of tomorrow back home in Nigeria.
When we started this project, it was very tough. The first contractor abandoned the project and left. But today, look at where we are. Tenacity is the most important gift that you need to give your soul. When it gets so tough and you think the way is no longer there, you got to produce that energy stimulant.
Ambassador Babagana Kingibe disclosed that similar water facility was drilled and donated to Nigerian Army University View at the cost of 100 million naira, while same water project will be constructed in Gubio town by the foundation as soon as security situation improves, noting that the water project was also reticulated through the all-block water pipes. Senator Mohamed Alindumi, who applauded efforts of the American-based philanthropists, advised other well-to-do in the society to impact on the lives of the less privileged. In Maiduguri, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development, the Northeast Development Commission, other federal agencies, Borno State Government and other development partners have shown great commitment towards resettlement of the thousands of IDPs and their refugees back to their liberated communities. These efforts, together with the military counter-insurgency campaign, are raising hopes for the resettlement of the displaced, eager to go home. Already, some communities considered safe are recording significant level of returnees. How much progress has been made and what needs to be done to actualize this important chapter in relieving the humanitarian crisis? With me now to analyze this issue is a university don and associate professor of political science, Dr. Ibrahim Umara. Sir, it's a great honor to have you join us on Panorama this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it has been nearly a decade since IDPs camps opened, plus a refugee abode in neighboring countries. What is the quantum of humanitarian crisis, sir?
The quantum is so enormous. The level of magnanimity cannot be quantified significantly, because when people are displaced, some are missing, some may have escaped to relatively safer areas, some may have escaped to other neighboring countries. So in a situation of their consequences, the accurate figure or the figures that were already available based on United Nations Humanitarian or High Commission for Refugee and Humanitarian agencies and other development partners indicated up to 1.9 million internally displaced persons are in Maiduguri alone. So we have other internally displaced persons in Chad, in Cameroon, and in Niger. So the issues of these peoples ascertaining the number of displacement is still not properly ascertained until and unless the traditional institutions, the local governments have been involved to ascertain the number of the missing, the dead, and the alive, and then to locate in which IDPs are there or in each of the host communities are there. Then from there we can come up with the accurate figure. But for now, it's just a mere speculation. Of 1.9 million, I know Maiduguri alone is having more than 2 million IDPs. So it is so enormous. So enormous. And then consider the
issues of destroying the means of livelihood, destructions of social fabric, destruction of economic activities and other commercial activities are so enormous that the resettlement has to be vertical and horizontal. So vertically, what can we do to resettle them? The government is making an effort, the state government, the Northeastern Development Commission, the federal government, the development partners are all working very hard to ensure that these people are resettled. First prerequisite of resettlement will start from the elemental level.
All right.
Elemental level of restoring the means of livelihood for the people to start up their economic activities. That is one aspect. Two, housing is so paramount and very important. And then three, what is more of the fundamental is safety and security through the collaboration of the Nigerian Armed Forces and other security agencies to ensure that the resettled communities are no longer attacked, that the people will be psychologically free from any attack. Then from there we can have the resettlement effort and process on ground.
All right, sir. How much efforts have stakeholders made towards a resettlement of the displaced persons back home?
Yeah, they have put many machineries on ground. The development partners, the Borno State government, the federal government have all engaged in massive constructions of houses. I know houses were already constructed in Dikwa, in Gala, in Damasak, in Manguno, and still ongoing construction in Ngom. We have constructions in this town around Bama and Bama itself. So there are very many construction projects that are ongoing, but the fundamental construction of public facilities that were already destroyed. As I can tell you that the enormity can be ascertained based on the outcome of assessment that were made. 956,435 houses were destroyed, constituting 30% of the household in Borno State. 856 schools were destroyed, including 2 higher institutions of learning. And then we have health facilities, water outlet, marketing, grazing, agriculture. Nothing is at all taking place. For those people to be resettled, these destroyed facilities must be reconfigured. They must to be reconstructed for the people to go back to have a silence of life, and then for them to start up socio-economic activities afresh, so that they will know that they are really resettled back.
All right. Okay, sir, with the current pace of reconstruction and rehabilitation, especially housing in insurgency-affected communities, and the commitment of stakeholders, how feasible is the issue of resettlement?
It is feasible on one aspect, and it may not be feasible on the other. Feasible in the sense of the vision of the state government and of the federal government that they wanted to resettle these people back. But then the security apparatus of the country will have to have a renewed commitment to ensure that these constructed houses are not yet attacked again, that these people who are going to return back to their respective communities are no longer attacked again. So they have to guarantee the safety and the security of the people for them to go back home and resettle, and then for them to start up their socio-economic activities in order to ginger the support of their means of livelihood. And without doing that, I think it is going to be naive for people to resettle back, and then tomorrow another attack will come in, and the people will be forcibly conscripted to serve as the force of the insurgency, and then for them to creep on the lives and properties of our people. I think we have to consider it utmost seriousness. The vision should incorporate the security apparatus.
Okay, sorry, we just have to leave the discussion here for now. It appears time is not on our side. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of Panorama this afternoon. We appreciate you so much for your insight.
Thank you.
Well, you're on to Panorama. Let's take a break now. There will be more stories shortly.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
You're welcome back. As at the 7th of August 2020, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has announced 443 new cases of COVID-19. A breakdown indicates Plateau has 103, Lagos 70, FCT 60, Ondo 35, Edo and Rivers 27 each, Osun 19, while Borno and Oyo have 18 cases each. Others are Kwara 11, Adamawa 9, Nasarawa 7, Gombe 6, Bayelsa and Imo 4 each, Bauchi and Ogun 2 each, and Kano 1. Total number of confirmed cases stands at 45,687, discharged 32,637, while deaths are 936. Stringent measures are still in place at Jimtulu, the main entry and exit point into Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, as part of sustained efforts in the fight against spread of COVID-19 across the country. The steps taken to support flatten the coronavirus pandemic curve were intensified since the lifting of the interstate ban on movement. Jatwa John Jesney has an update.
The lifting of ban on interstate movement was followed by a phased relaxation of the lockdown by the federal government, with observations of safety protocols, a major condition for passenger vehicle operations. The Borno State Committee on Prevention and Control of COVID-19 has put in place human and material resources at the point of entry, Umar Shehu Ultramodern Hospital and other testing centers as part of measures to guard against unforeseen circumstances as people from other parts of the country come into the state. Taking of samples of commuters at the point of entry is still in place, especially for those from high-risk areas like Abuja, Lagos, and Kano, among others. Health personnel in place attested to a reasonable level of compliance on the side of travelers and drivers, as they record not less than 150 samples per day.
Even from Auno, if somebody is coming into Maiduguri without face mask, we must take his sample. As for now, more than 80 to 90% of people passing along, they use their face masks.
Some travelers who spoke to NTA News described the point of entry sampling as commendable.
Yana da kyau a zuwa tantance kowa a gane mai lafiya da mara lafiya. Wannan abin da ma jama'a dai ba laifi bane. Ya kamata jama'a su fara haɗin kai.
Mu baka da face mask zaka iya shiga da kai nan a gwada ka da kuma abun nan gaskiya. Kuma ana ba da haɗin kai abu kan yana tafiya normal.
The committee says it will not rest on its oars until Borno is declared COVID-19 free.
The case in Maiduguri is not that scary, but that does not mean that we will relax and allow people to behave the way they want to behave, so that the number that we have as a case does not increase or does not go out of control.
The Borno State Committee on the Prevention and Control of COVID-19 in the state has not relented in the fight against the pandemic, as it is still on the move across the country. In Maiduguri, Jatwa Janjas, NTA News.
Thank you, Jadwa. As part of its responsibility to developing goals and government's efforts in ensuring healthy community, the Global Timeline Initiative has taken awareness campaign against COVID-19 to the grassroots. Sarafina Okon Umekwe reports that women were shared into groups and trained in areas of soap making, hand sanitizer, and face mask with the aim of generating revenue for them.
As the coronavirus pandemic is currently ravaging the world, the Global Timeline Initiative, a non-governmental organization saddled with the responsibility of empowering widows, women, and the girl child, deemed it urgent to reach out to the people of Garokitu in the nation's capital. The representative of the SAPE of Garokitu, Jacob Pada, and the guest speaker, Isham Mohammed, advised the women to maintain proper hygienic lifestyle and play by the safety rules.
The first day we paid a visit to the palace, we were surprised to hear someone tell us that there is no COVID-19, that it's all scam. And that was why we said, okay, fine. Since government says people should try and join the efforts to make awareness, and we didn't see anybody coming up. Everybody is relaxing, everybody wanted a palliative and all that. So we thought, okay, fine, let's just do. There is no time too late.
This event is very important so that you can reach out to the people
that are in certain areas that are not really aware of what COVID-19 is.
I am very, very overwhelmed because he who brings health brings life.
Apart from the sensitization of COVID-19, the women were empowered in the community.
I learned how to make hand sanitizer with the use of moko spirits that we use for the children cut clamps. So with glycerin and many other things and aloe vera making.
I'm grateful for these people for coming here today to show me how to make liquid soap. Now I can be able to make it and market it.
The women and the traditional rulers were thankful to the NGO for the gesture. Serafina Okonumekwe, NTA News.
Sports is next. La Liga Sevilla in top contention for a 6th Europa League title. Ayodeji Makinde will now tell us more on Sports Update.